Welcome everybody to the Short Sports Show. I am your host, Daniel Short. Today is Monday, January 26th, 2015. And today we got we're going to live up to the name of the show, Short. We got a real short show. Not a whole lot of news in college football and not a whole lot of news in the NFL. And I really want to, obviously keep this short, mainly because we got two things happening. Obviously, this upcoming week, this Sunday, is Super Bowl Sunday. So we will have a show early Sunday morning. Be ready for that. We're going to talk all about the Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots. We're not going to talk about the stupid deflating of the football crap because let me give you my quick little point of it. I believe that majority of the teams, if not all teams, already do that. Now, I'm not saying they do 11 out of 12 footballs, but I believe every quarterback, because everybody has a different hand, every quarterback likes the football a certain type of way. That's all I'm going to say. And I feel like, most people will agree. I understand the Patriots have, somewhat cheated before. We should forget about that and look at this now. And I'm just saying, that's my little quick thing. So we'll talk about the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday, of course. Early Sunday morning, be ready, be on the lookout for that. And also, huge thing. We have an interview which you guys can listen later today, probably around 3 o'clock or so Central Standard Time. We got an interview with the director of Carter High movie that's coming out. It's about the Dallas Carter High School movie. Dallas Carter is up in the Dallas area in high school football, which was huge back in the 1980s. Their championship, they were just dominating everybody they played. Everybody's heard of Odessa Permian. This is someone like that, a big powerhouse, and the entire story about it. So I will have an interview with him, the director, Arthur Muhammad, later today. Be sure to check that out once it's posted. I'll let you guys know on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Let everybody know. And it's going to be awesome. So, again, be on the lookout for that later today. Again, an interview with the director of Carter High. So, let's go ahead and talk about some college football news. Again, it wasn't a whole lot of news, just 3 different stories. And some really just bad news for Iowa State. Now, this past season, excuse me again, it's just been bad for them football season-wise. They were going to bowl games with Paul Rhodes leading them out of the 4 or 5 years he's been there. Led them to bowl games this year. They thought they would improve a little bit more. This year they took a huge step backwards after going 3-9, and now they're losing a lot of players. Former Iowa State wide receiver P.J. Harris has been arrested and charged with attempting to strangle his girlfriend. Harris was booked on I can't even speak now. Domestic assault, strangulation charge, aggravated. Gosh, I cannot say that. Aggravated domestic assault, strangulation charge, and was being held in a Story County jail without bond. Harris caught 9 passes for 55 yards last season. So, it wasn't a huge playmaker out there, but it is another player. Iowa State spokesman Mike Green said Harris was kicked off the team on January 13th for violating team rules. So he was already off the team. But this is another thing. Iowa State, they dismissed safety TJ Mutcherson for violating team rules. He started 10 games as a sophomore last season, but before being suspended for the final 2 games. Mutcherson made 76 tackles and had 2 interceptions in 2014. And also, head coach Paul Rhodes said Friday that wide receiver Damian Lowry, tight end Alex Leslie, and offensive lineman Duron Williams will all transfer to different schools. So 5 players gone in about a month. That's crazy. You got to do that sometimes. You got to clean house. You got to get, those bad apples out so that way you can have a better team. And, this was, most people were thinking Iowa State would probably be a 7-6 team, another bowl team again. And especially not a 3-9 team. They were looking to get better. Just not there. And it could just be some internal problems. That's why they're kicking off 5 players in a month's time span. So we'll see. Notre Dame will allow safety L.R. Hardy to transfer after he missed the first 8 games of the 2014 season, while the university investigated him and 4 other players for possible academic dishonesty. Team spokesman Michael Burtson and Hardy said Hardy plans to graduate in May and transfer. Has 1 season of eligibility left after not playing as a freshman and a sophomore. He played in 5 games this past season, finishing with 9 tackles, and started just 2 games in 2013. So that's another player gone. I believe they're going to have 3 players out of those 4 or 5. 3 out of the 5 players are gone from Notre Dame. One of them's entering the NFL draft. I believe that was a wide receiver. Another one doesn't have any eligibility left. That was his senior year, so he's out. And, of course, Hardy now, he's transferring. So 2 players are staying out of the 5. Other news in college football, probably the biggest out of all of it, was Lane Kiffin. Decided he will return to Alabama next season to remain as the team's offensive coordinator. The team announced Saturday. Kiffin had, of course, been the front runner for the San Francisco 49ers offensive coordinator job. And, we talked about that for a little bit last week, and I said, just be a dumb move for the 49ers. They'd be going on a little bit of a down streak if they hired him, and good thing they didn't. I'm still worried about the 49ers, though, overall. But this is what Nick Saban had to say after finding out Lane Kiffin would stay, and, of course, I'm pretty sure you already knew he would. We're very pleased and happy that Lane is going to stay here at the University of Alabama with us. He's done a fabulous job and is one of the finest offensive coaches in the country. I disagree. He is going to have plenty of opportunities in the future, and we want to continue to help him develop as a coach. So when he leaves here, he'll be in a very good situation. Our offense was extremely productive last season. We look forward to building on some of the good things we did on that side of the ball with this year's team. Phone, really? Yes, he did some good things. I think Blake Sims was, mainly the guy. I mean, he was very talented at the quarterback spot. He'll mainly be judged this season. I mean, we'll find out what he's going to do. He has no quarterback, no clear-cut quarterback right now. And last year, at least one of the 2. This year, it's all open. It's like 3 or 4 different quarterbacks that could take the spot. How is Lane Kiffin going to develop one of these, if not all these quarterbacks, for fall ball when it comes here and get ready to play? Because you can't just put any quarterback out there for Alabama. We all know that. Nick Saban is going to be there as well. I thought it was what Nick Saban said was very interesting with that we want to continue to develop him as a coach, so when he leaves here, he'll be a very good situation. So he knows he's gone in a couple years or so. So he's trying to get him to look good. Because as we've seen with Alabama, all these coaches just leave. Nick Saban just gets another coach or moves one up, and they're still the same. It's crazy what Nick Saban can just do. Mastermind right there. I don't know. Lane, I just don't like him, honestly. I just don't like him as a coach. So, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how he does. If he can get a quarterback that can throw over 3,500 yards and have a better touchdown to interception ratio, then we'll say he's a very good coach, and I'll bite my words. If he struggles to get a quarterback and develop one, I'm not biting my words, and I'm going right after it. I'm just saying. But that's it for college football. Let's talk about some NFL news. That's former Pittsburgh Steelers defensive coordinator Dick LeBeau has decided to not join the Arizona Cardinals staff, according to a source. Apparently, the 2 talked last week, and LeBeau opted against moving across the country to join Cardinals as either the defense coordinator or linebackers coach. Former Cardinals defensive coordinator Todd Bowles, as we all know, is now the head coach of the New York Jets. Apparently, Bruce Arians and Dick LeBeau were with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, Dick LeBeau's been there for, I believe, 11 or 13 years with them. He's been there for a long time. Bruce Arians was there from, I believe, 2004 to 2011. And, so they had a connection. So Bruce Arians was trying to bring him over as Cardinals still don't have a defensive coordinator. Said, hey, this is a perfect time. Come on over. You're leaving the Steelers, come with us. And I think that would have been solid for Dick LeBeau. One, Arizona's not a bad place to live. Phoenix, Arizona is definitely not a bad place to live. Summertime? Yeah, well, that's part of the South. You get used to that. It's better than the cold that you get in Pittsburgh. Am I right? So if I was Dick LeBeau and I said, I'm leaving the Steelers, maybe he just wants the linebackers coach spot, maybe a co-defensive coordinator. He could get that. I'm sure they would have worked something out. Where does LeBeau want to go? He said he didn't want to retire. He said he wanted to continue to coach, but he just didn't want to go with the Steelers anymore. I mean, where do you want to move? Do you want to go to Philadelphia? Is that what you want? Is that what you're hoping for? I think this would have been a perfect opportunity. Cardinals defense is already set. They got some good cornerbacks, as we all know, in their star and Patrick Peterson. You got some good defensive linemen out there. Linebackers, you have Darrell Washington back next season. I mean, this is a perfect time to be a defensive coordinator for the Cardinals. It really is. I'm very shocked he did not take this. I truly am. Especially if you want to, go back and, reunite with Bruce Arians. And Dick LeBeau has plenty of money to keep a house in Pittsburgh if that's really where he wants to be. If he wants to stay in the state of Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, you have plenty of money to keep a house there. You have enough money to get like a small little, townhouse in Arizona or something that you could live in for a couple months. I mean, I don't know, but who knows? Who knows where Dick LeBeau wants to go and coach? I think this would have been a perfect opportunity. If there's any coaches out there, make sure you just apply like crazy to be the Cardinals defensive coordinator, because that is the job to have. If I was a coach right now and they were, they were looking at me, I would take it. I would take it completely. I would love to take that job. Last news is Cleveland Browns wide receiver, and here we go again. He just had to make news, didn't he? Josh Gordon has failed yet another drug test and will now be subjected to a 1-year suspension, according to league sources. Gordon tested positive for alcohol. The failed test is the latest in a long line of setbacks for Gordon, whose future now in Cleveland and in the NFL is in a huge question mark. It's just crazy. How a player who has so much talent, he still has so much talent. And what he did last season to have over 1,600 receiving yards with really, Brian Hoyer, up and down quarterback, not really someone you want to put your team's hands in. To be able to do that, you've got skill. Imagine what he could have done with be on the opposite side of Dez Bryant with Tony Romo. What he could have done with Aaron Rodgers. What he could have done with Brady. What he could have done with Breeze, Manning, either of the Mannings. It's crazy. If he could just get out of Cleveland, But now he's completely screwed himself. Because I could see the NFL being really harsh on him already. Obviously he's going to be a 1-year suspension because this guy obviously cannot learn whatsoever. Because we're going to go through his timeline history of his multiple same mistakes, basically. If he could just got out of Cleveland and got a new scenery, that would have been perfect for him. But now the NFL can be harsh in that, yes, it's a 1-year suspension, but they could say, you know what, we're going to make sure you learn. And not just, you with the Cleveland Browns, whether they release him or keep him, you're gone for the season, that's done, the next season you come back. No. What I would do if I was the NFL and Roger Goodell, if he actually wants to be a smart commissioner this time, and do this. Whether you stay with the Cleveland Browns or you get released and some other team signs you, you have to serve a 1-year suspension with a team. So if he becomes a free agent, that does not mean then you're not, if you're not, okay, hold on. If he becomes a free agent and your suspension doesn't start. Your suspension starts when you're with a team, like that. So if 2015 season comes along, Browns release him. I don't know his contract situation. So if he's already up, for contract, so he's gone, then he's gone. But what I'm saying is, becomes a free agent 2015, that suspension doesn't start. Nope. It starts when he signs with another team or stays with the Browns. That's when it starts. That will teach him real quick not to do this crap again. But, he's getting older now. It might just be too late for the NFL. This is what the Browns organization had to say after finding out that he failed another drug test. Quote, clearly we are very disappointed to hear the latest report regarding Josh. At this